Welcome back to Two Canadians at Kafe Lise, a Vigor podcast. It's episode 65. And today we're doing a bit of, I'm calling it just a grab bag. um, I'm your host, Dr. Anton. With me is the other host, DJ Spencer.
Hello.
Hello. We figured we would talk about a little bit about the changes they implemented with the 15.1 update. And I also had a few things I thought I'd bring up as well, just some uh, bugs and stuff I've kind of noticed when playing on the Switch and a little bit on the PlayStation, because I've been playing on the PlayStation 4 as well. So this season I've been getting all the different consoles going again. And so if you're thinking of playing on one of these other ones, I can just let you know a few things that I've been noticing. And if you have been playing on some of these other ones, maybe you're experiencing this as well. So if the more of us that say, hey, we're having this issue, is good, and then we can send it over to the devs and let them know that if they don't already, they may already, but you know how it goes. The more people who say something, the bigger, the more it'll be in their minds that something has to be done to fix something,
Well,
right?
not just hearsay. Like, you can't just say it. You need to provide clips and whatnot.
Yep.
Because
That's true.
that's the thing. They need to be able to repeat uh, whatever steps to get the bugs right. So yeah,
Yep.
it's important. Yeah, be as descriptive as you can, but providing video certainly does help. And then
For sure.
just for you know clarification too, it's like you could post it either on the socials or like Twitter, Reddit, Discord, or you could send it to a partner such as myself or one of the many other partners that uh, Vigor has.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. The all the different consoles have ways of creating clips. There some are easier than others. Um, I even today I was just sort of learning how do I do it on a Switch, um, because the Switch has a pretty handy little button, and so does the PlayStation for taking screenshots and video clips. But it's also getting the that media, getting them off of there so that you can send it either via like one of the socials, like their through their Twitter account or on their Discord server. Xbox, I think when it comes to like saving a screenshot or a clip, Xbox I think has the best solution, because when you create it on your Xbox, you could just go to your computer, bring up the X. Now, unfortunately, with Xbox, I guess there are a few different programs that that exist on your computer, so it's knowing which one to go to. I find going to the one called the Console Companion is the easiest. It'll have all your clips and screenshots that you've created. When you go to the that section in the Console Companion, it'd be like what's on Xbox Live, and so you could go to that tab and then rename them, download them, and it's pretty simple. I know with the PS4, and I don't have a PS5 yet, um, you have to. It was a bit of a pain because you actually had to copy the files off of the PS4, so you had to have some kind of like a USB thumbstick or drive that you could plug in, and then you got to go into the hard drive or whatever, copy it over. It's a real hassle. Switch is a bit better, because the Switch is portable. You just take it off your dock or whatever, and as long as you have a USB a C cable for your computer, you can just plug it right into your computer, and then on the Switch you just say, I want to share my media. You go just a couple little easy steps, share your media media. And then on in your computer, it'll show up as a device on your file explorer. You can drill into it. It'll even saves it by whatever game you're creating these in. So there'll be like a folder for all the different games you have clips and stuff for. You go to the Vigor one, The naming isn't great. It's just a bunch of numbers and all that, but none of them really name stuff great. Like I think the Xbox, I think it just defaults to Vigor. Like every single clip is called Vigor. So you,
Yeah,
but yeah, but you can easily rename it on the Xbox companion. With the Switch, you can just copy all the files. They all have unique numbered names, but then you can rename them as you figure out which one's what, right? And the same with the PlayStation. It's just some, I can't even remember what they call their clips and screenshots, but for file names. But it's the same kind of thing. You grab what you need. Once you get on your USB stick, then you can take it to your computer and do it. I know PlayStation does have like their whole kind of share thing as well. So if you take a clip or a screenshot, you do have the ability to share it directly. So that might be a thing if you have your like Twitter, or I'm not sure. Other than Twitter, I don't know what else they might have available, like if for sharing straight from the PlayStation. Um, but you could tweet it out directly that way. But if you want to throw it up on their Discord, you're definitely going to have to copy it to something, put it on your computer, and then do it. So things to be aware of. But first, before we get too far into all those kind of things, we're going to talk about the update. Um, before I bring it up, though, please like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate it, and hit that notification bell. It helps. And leave us comments. We always appreciate when we get comments, and we try to respond right away, or as close as possible. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into the updates here. So I'll bring it up here. This is the change log for 15.1, and you can see there's a lot of little fixes, right? I guess there was issues with sometimes the crows not always going off, and so
yeah.
especially in Mirren, so they provided a fix for that. Um, I hadn't noticed this last one. Mementos were difficult to pick up. Did you found anything? It's tough, I guess.
Not that
Yeah,
one.
it's tough if you have them all. You're not always looking for them, right?
Yeah,
How much?
yeah.
Yeah.
I actually found the last vinyl
Oh, did you finally?
last night,
Yeah, that took you a while. Yeah, it took me a long time
a-
too.
and I died to an exit camper in Lorads.
No.
Yeah,
Oh, it's terrible.
and yeah. So, anyways, and I was actually doing a zero to hero run too, uh, for a seasonal and a daily challenge. So, yeah.
Oh,
But
that's the
no,
worst.
I have not. I did not know about that bug. Some of
No.
these bugs were actually like kind of new to me type thing.
Yeah.
Like like the exit tells. It's like, yeah, Myron is like the newest one, but like
Yep.
battery like by Motel, right? That's like the most famous one
Yep.
because that's been forever. So um,
I guess
I think
do a few more of these here.
that one actually got fixed beforehand. Now that I think about it,
I thought it had two, but
yeah,
maybe well, this obviously was for Myron, so
yeah,
like they
that's
must
right.
have fixed it for others, and then Myron had picked it up as well.
Yeah, because it was something different actually. But anyways,
Yeah.
um, yeah. But the Exitel one, like uh, the partners, like we noticed it in the preview build. So, but
Okay.
yeah, the Mementos is new to me, and pretty sure new to a few other people as well because I haven't heard it reported. So,
Okay. What's next on here?
general
It's Memento.
geometry polishes to prevent getting stuck in different areas. Uh,
Okay.
it is just, you could kind of jam yourself amongst things. Like I think Myron, I got stuck uh, by a tank type thing in the turret.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I don't know if that one got fixed, but like that's just an example of
Yeah.
something like that. Uh,
I
that,
noticed this
that would
kind
be
of
a bug.
thing too on the Switch more often, and that's just generally because the Switch, I think they have to take stuff have to take stuff away on the Switch, right? So there's not as
Mhm.
much when you go into an encounter, you go into a building and it looks a lot barer than it does like on a Xbox or a PlayStation. But there have been times where I'm running and I stop and okay, there's something here. And like if I was on the Xbox, I would be seeing. I know I'd be seeing something, and I was even able to jump up on it because I knew, okay, yeah, I'm standing in the air. All right, yeah. But I think it's those kind of things, but more general for other ones. Yeah.
The next one, using loadout preset menu causes the menu to get stuck. That one was like painful for me.
That was a painful one. Yeah.
It's like you could tab out or you could back out completely of the menu to get back into it or unfreeze it. But yeah, it was just painful because it's like, how many of us use like preset loadouts all the time, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so definitely a nice quality of life fix there.
It could get a little bit extra annoying if you go load up your preset, and say you're short something, like it says you're missing whatever, but then you're frozen, so you got to go out, go back in, um, make whatever you're short on, say it's ammo or a consumable or something, and if you use that loadout, load your preset loadout again, it'll freeze you again, and yeah, it could be extra annoying if you do it that way, but
Hmm.
yeah. Let's see. They fixed. Yeah, you might have mentioned this, right? Yeah, fixed the weapon category in the equip tab is closing itself after a weapon is selected and or crafted. I didn't realize it was happening on weapon selection, but that
Yeah.
makes sense. But the crafting one was the especially annoying one. And they kind of fixed it. And I know for the Xbox, I don't think I've noticed it on the Xbox since. But then going back and then I have a couple when we talk about some little weird issues later, on the Switch, it's kind of fixed, but then it has this extra little weird thing that's happening, and I've also noticed it on the PlayStation now too. So, because it's a PS4 Slim, not like the Pro, it's not the fastest PlayStation. So I think there's a lag thing that's happening. And definitely with this the Switch's lag. So there's an extra little thing that I'll show you later to do with this with those consoles. Um what's next? I fixed the weapon category in the equip tab. Scroll bar resets to the top after deconstructing. So that's a similar kind of thing though with deconstructing.
Yeah.
What was next here? What's next?
Reward screen animation after encounter showing a different airdrop rarity. So it
Oh,
was actually uh, showing what was it, the level below.
oh,
So
okay.
it's
So if
like
it was a
if
rare, it
you,
was showing uncommon kind of thing.
yeah, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that's all it was, is like different. You were actually getting the right crate when you got back to your shelter. It was just
Right.
like a UI thing. Um, that again too is like something the partners caught and mentioned, and it got fixed in this update.
Right. Okay, that's good. Uh,
And then next, jammer challenges, disruptor, line administrator, cyber dazzle. So these are the names of the challenges.
yep.
Progression being limited to ping each outlander only once per encounter. uh,
Oh, I
so
didn't know that was a thing. Okay.
uh, I kind of heard from a couple of people about this bug type thing,
Yep.
but I didn't realize it was only once per encounter. I knew that there was something where they weren't actually like the progress wasn't being tracked, but I didn't
Right.
realize it was like once per encounter. So
Okay. No, that's good to know. And that could be one if you're not paying close enough attention, you may not realize
yeah.
that you're running into an issue.
Mhm.
So that's good. The next couple are fixed overachieving the jammer challenge as possible. Yeah, and I did run into I think that one. It wasn't just the jammer challenge. I think there was other ones too where if you had finished a challenge, it would still like each time you would do something that would say count towards it, it would still clock it up here.
Oh, okay.
I do remember seeing it, I think, on the jammer, but I could have swore there was others as well. If you get like say you're counting kills on a weapon, I thought there was times where the weapon count would go up as well, even though you're not getting anything extra for it. It's just continuing the count. At least until you churned it in. Once you've churned it in, then it goes away. That's what I had noticed,
Yeah.
anyways.
I
And
think
then
that
next,
was the case
yeah,
last year too, where it
yeah,
was like there were certain challenges if you didn't like claim the reward type thing, it kept accruing type thing and kept popping up. So
yeah, exactly, right. Um, Fixed, unable to break locked loadouts in elimination if you have exactly 5 crowns for one ticket. This might have happened to me once, because I did have a challenge where I had to like get, use 10 loadout tickets, and I think there was once where I was down to like my last 5 crowns on that particular one, and it didn't, or
yeah,
last ticket, and it didn't. Or if you have exactly 5 crowns for one
yeah,
ticket, so that's where if you're spending crowns instead of using a ticket. Okay, maybe it didn't happen to me.
yeah. When you're buying it in between rounds type thing instead of like in the loading screen.
Well, yeah, 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 exactly, yeah, yeah. Okay,
So this is the perfect example of when you are reporting a bug, you need to be as detailed as possible. Where it's
yep,
like, how many crowns did you have? When this happened or whatnot. Like,
hmm,
because like if it's specifically 5 crowns, it's like there's only one way to replicate this. You could have
yeah,
like 200 crowns, it's not going to happen. So, uh, yeah, just keep that in mind.
yeah. No,
There's a lot of
that's a really
variables to
specific
troubleshooting.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they have to take all of that into consideration. So, what are the next couple?
Uh, Weapon information overlapping on the loadout section. That one I didn't even
Oh
know.
no, I don't think I noticed it, but okay. So
In the
that's
loadout section.
specifically, yeah. So you have a weapon, it's showing you the
Yeah.
stats, and then you go to another one, it's still showing another one, I guess.
Uh,
Hmm.
Interesting.
Or if
Uh,
you have two weapons loaded or something. I don't know. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Okay.
and then sorry, being able to break the memento preview securing in the shelter. Interesting.
Hmm. I'm not sure what that means, but they fixed it, so great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess on my Xbox, I've had all the mementos for a while, so it's one of those things where you don't go in there a lot to look at them, so
Yeah.
you wouldn't necessarily notice. But if somebody is looking to see what they need and what they have, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Next couple, fixed localization typos and missing strings. Okay. Um, Fixed trigger sound for mines playing even after the mine is destroyed.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I've had that. So basically, like, if you set off a mine, like either by shooting it or running over it, and then you ran over the same spot where the mine was, you'd get the little like bing sound type thing, like
Okay.
where it was getting triggered. So you wouldn't
Yep.
get the explosion, but you'd still get that. Uh, that's one thing I found in the preview build.
Yeah, that's something.
But
There's something similar that I've noticed. But again, it might be a switch, low powered lag kind of thing, where you know how the jammer, it makes a lot of noise when it's out, but then eventually after a couple of minutes it dies.
yeah,
And at least on the Switch, and I can't remember if I've noticed it anywhere else. After it dies, it keeps making the noise for a little while. It does eventually go away, but
yeah,
it stays longer than you
yeah.
would think it should.
Uh, Transmitters do that too on the Xbox and the jammers. I don't think it's just the Switch because
Okay,
I've
there
had
you
it
go.
happen for both of them. I've personally I've never reported it. I don't know if anyone else has,
Yeah,
but maybe
because
it
it's
is
not something
something.
you think about too much, but I guess if there's a situation where you've thrown one out, and you destroy it, or you find one and you destroy it, and you want to hear if someone's around, if the sound is still there, it's kind of interfering with your audio, so it could be annoying. Okay, where were
Yep.
we? Uh, oh, right.
Uh,
Okay, pinging, I think, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Pinging of mine shows a contact bomb icon, so uh, that one was just like a slight oversight. So if you would ping a mine in Myron, it's like it would show a contact bomb. So now we have like a separate icon,
Oh, good.
which is nice. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, Next is getting kicked to splash art due to rapidly rerolling challenges. That's
Okay.
that's interesting. I didn't know about that. I know some people
No.
have crashed, but I didn't realize that was one of the causes. So,
Yeah, and I have crashed even on my Xbox a couple times this season, and I want to, but I'm just not sure if it's as of or before 15.1. Um, yeah, okay. What's next? We're getting lost. Okay. Uh, oh yeah, there we go. Fixed onboarding rewards not appearing immediately in the stash. Uh, So that's an onboarding thing. So you won't necessarily like if you've been playing for a while, you're past that, you wouldn't have noticed it.
yeah,
Added revamped premium packs. So this is just some stuff that they've added.
yeah, added stuff to the shop.
Yeah.
It,
They've added the L96 to the general loot and loot boxes now as well.
yeah, I'm kind of curious what they mean by loot boxes.
Yeah. Like, are they talking about like weapon crates? Or well, it
Or
might be also in shootout or something. I'm wondering if they talk.
yeah, it might be just, but it says general loot
Yeah, general loot and loot
because like
boxes. Because I would
I know
almost think,
you can get it in like loot events type thing,
yeah, yep.
but like I've never found it in like a weapon crate or anything
No,
like that.
except for maybe in shootout. I think it's because it shows up in mirroring in
Yeah,
shootout.
because it's in the weapon pool.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah. Um, so unless that's what they mean, but loot boxes makes me think of the ones that you get as rewards, right? Either through getting the airdrop or
oh, like the like the airdrops.
yeah, but like, well, I guess the weapon. It's not. It's the plans that don't show up until for a couple seasons
Yeah,
usually, but the weapons themselves can. So maybe that's what they mean.
yeah,
They've added the weapons to the loot boxes.
and the parts. Uh,
Yeah.
See,
What's next
I'm
here?
kind of curious because like the whole thing has been like you haven't been able to get the crafting plan for 2 years or two
Yeah.
seasons when it's
Right.
released. So it's like, should the weapon parts be in there or even the new weapon? I don't. I guess they're trying to get more out there type thing.
Yeah, because you gotta give people some way of getting it, like, even if they can't
Yeah.
build it themselves, right?
Yeah.
Give them some chance of getting the weapon because they
Oh,
have
actually,
adjusted, they've really adjusted the amount you get in a crate nowadays, right?
yeah.
There's a time where you could get, like, 10 SG-1s or 10, LID-5s.
Yeah.
Now it's like you get a few in, like, the gold crates. It's not as many nowadays.
Yep. Next, buried cache resource. This one, obviously, if you found a buried cache, it was loaded with all the. I'm pretty sure it was all the special issue weapons. You got parts
Yep.
for all of them. I think it was a minimum of two, and then if it was actually boosted, it would actually go higher.
Mm.
Um, but uh, they actually talked about it in the dev stream, and it was a bug type thing.
Oh,
It was
okay.
funny because I found a cache spot playing around in the preview build, and I was like, "Oh, I wonder if this is like how they help like partners build weapons because like literally you start with the like level one shelter, so you need
Yeah.
to build it up. So it's like, oh, this is an easy way of getting weapons then. And no, it turned out it was a bug. So
Yeah.
they have nerfed it. And now I think you get one row of parts, so it's like five different weapon parts type thing.
Something like that, yep.
Um, yeah,
Well, and
that's what it changed.
that it's a mix of, like, there's a few weapons, and there's usually, like, sometimes it's armor parts, I think, and then some of the grenades kinda things, so
Yeah, like they're all special issue, but
yeah,
you get
oh,
a
yeah,
mix
yeah.
of them. So
Yeah,
sorry,
and then
I
they
shouldn't
also
have
get
said
some
in the first
resources.
place. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
all special issue weapons and consumables.
right,
So,
yeah. Yeah, and now and they never really said anything before, so I always thought, well, maybe it's just I always assumed it was gonna change, like, with the update. I just didn't realize it was an actual bug and not it wasn't on purpose.
it,
I thought for because it was, the Norwegian holiday or something like that at the beginning of the season, right? And they had, like,
yeah.
fly the Norwegian flag, so I figured, "Oh, maybe they're boosting the the buried cache,
Yeah.
for that. But nope.
One thing that came to mind, it was like, okay, like again, like I thought it might have been like, oh, they're, it's for the preview build only, but then it was live, and then I was like, you know what? I wonder if this is trying to entice people to like look for the buried cache more, because
Well,
like
that was a way to do it. Yeah, it
that
was.
is a ton of special, like it is ridiculous
Yep.
amount of good things, but yeah. Anyways,
It definitely helped because, like, like when you get those seasonal challenges to craft so many armor plates and craft so many radiation grenades or whatever it was, um, it definitely helped, like on my Switch account, which is very low level, and I don't have plans for half the stuff. I was able to, at least if I got a buried cache, I was able to get a few, get one or two. Like I think I'm almost done those challenges. I got up to like 8 crafted of each as I found parts for them, right? So it helped. It helped a lot that way, for sure. What else? So changed. More weapon crates are now being spawned across each map. I guess I didn't realize that weapon crates weren't spawning as often as they used to.
it it's strange because I know a couple of people have mentioned it on stream, and they seem to think that it's gone the other way, where there's actually less, and or you're not getting actual weapons out of it. You're getting like
Parts.
weapon parts, and
I've been
even at that,
finding.
some of them are like knife parts, which at one point were
Yeah.
like removed completely.
Yeah, yeah, and which are totally useless. Yeah, I've been finding more weapons in like bedside tables and wardrobes. Um, so
Yeah.
they've definitely helped with that. So I think that's kind of increased because you definitely have a better chance of finding a weapon that way nowadays.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, okay. And then change decoy now imitates 2 randomly chosen weapons from the lobby instead of 1. That is helpful. Because if you recall when decoys first came out, they would, yeah, it was usually 2 weapons. They would 2 different weapons that were in the lobby, or I'm not sure if they were necessarily in the lobby or not, but 2 different weapons would be give you sounds when you placed the decoy. Then it went to 1 for a
Yeah.
while.
I, I actually want to say this came out in the actual like 15 update, because I remember using one in like the preview build and it was fine. I just
Okay.
never tested it in live. So I'm wondering
Yeah.
if this is like something they forgot to add beforehand, but unless they tweaked it again where, well, no, because it actually says instead of one. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Unless it wasn't doing 2 randomly chosen from the lobby, on the 15.0. Maybe it was just giving 2 random weapons that weren't necessarily in the lobby, and people might have picked up on that if they're really good with their weapon sounds.
But again, it specifies instead of
True.
one
Yeah.
weapon, right? So
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah. And what are the last 2?
L96 shooting range challenge description to reflect reality. I think it's because one of the challenges was like get headshots on the targets, and it wasn't even that type of challenge type thing. If
Oh,
I think someone posted it on Reddit or something like that. I don't remember, but I think that's all it was. So
okay.
next, Crown Packs preview polished. Um, seems like just like a UI change.
Yeah, I think
I'm
it was
not
just a
really sure
UI
what that is.
change. Yeah. I'm not sure either, 'cause I can't think of that. Sometimes I look at the crown packs, but I don't recall. Has it changed? I have no clue. It's still crown packs, so I don't know. Yeah, but that's the change log for 15 for the updates that they did on this last release. So quite a few fixes in there. Um, but it's not to say that there aren't still some issues out there, and that's what I'm going to talk about here next. Um, so as I mentioned, I've been playing more on the Switch and the PlayStation. So I've been noticing, things on those systems, just because they're not my normal nowadays. And so when something happens, I see it. But it doesn't mean that this stuff isn't happening on the Xbox as well. It might depend on the version of Xbox, because DJ and I both run on a Series X, which is right now the most powerful Xbox that's out. Sometimes some issues may not show up on it because it's faster, and so it might hide some of these things with its speed. Like this one here, uh, the issue that we were having, and it was part of their change log, about um, when you're crafting weapons, it would close out the menu and put you at the top, kind of thing, and you have to go back in. And so what they've done is to mitigate that is I think it still closes out the menu, but then it puts you right back to where you were. So it's kind of a, and then on the Xbox, I think it's maybe really quick, so you may not notice it as much. But I found on the Switch and on the PlayStation, and I can show you it here. This is on the Switch. You go into the menu, you have a challenge to make something. Like here, it's assault rifles. You craft it, and it doesn't close the category you're making. But then sometimes, and not always, but on these examples, it does. It opens up rifles because rifles is the top. So it opens the top category for you. So you have to close that category, go back down to your weapon, make the next one. So you don't have to open the category again, but you can sort of see what they're doing. And and I think because of the slower nature of the Switch, it's more noticeable, and it tends to lag out. So it does this thing where it opens up rifles. It's not 100% of the time, but it's a high percentage of the time. On the PlayStation 4, I've noticed it as well. So it does it too. So I haven't been testing with the Xbox yet, so I'm going to try that. Just because I haven't had a lot of challenges yet where I have to make so many of something. Um, it'd be, and it might be worth loading up my old Xbox just to see if it happens there, and doesn't happen with the Series X. Because if it could be a speed thing. Just the new Xbox is faster, and it can compensate for what's happening better than the slower older systems. I don't know, but it's something to be aware of. And so it's something that I have a clip of it here, obviously. So I'm going to send it on the Discord to the devs saying, hey, this is what I'm noticing. I'm noticing it on Switch and PlayStation 4 Slim. So again, more powerful
Yeah.
PlayStations may not notice it. Um, Another thing on the Switch that I've been noticing, and this is probably a long time thing. So just because now that I'm playing more on it, it's more noticeable. And I bet you a lot of Switch players can say, "Yep, me too," but they may not have. They may have sent in clips. We don't know, but I'll send in my clips too. Um, it's sort of a fact of life now. Is like if I go to play on the Switch, I hit, I load in the game, and it takes longer because slower system. You hit the A button to go onto the second part. You get to one part, it shows you what's up. You hit A to go into your shelter, and then I don't have a clip of this yet, but it gets you to your shelter. It gives you the little thing telling you, hey, this is what's happening. You exit that, and then it might tell you, you might get a second one depending on what's happening. Sometimes you get the one that shows you all your challenges and what's in the store. But as soon as you exit both of those, you get the pop-up. Actually, it's not even a pop-up. It happens sort of right afterwards. It takes me back to that middle screen, so like where I have to hit A again to go into my shelter. So it doesn't crash the game totally, but it crashes back to that halfway point. And this is um, pretty much when on the first load of the day. Um, so I have noticed that, say I close Vigor down, go do some stuff, come back to it a little later, it doesn't always do it right away. So I don't know if it's like because it's still somewhere in the Switch's memory. So if that's what's making it so that it doesn't do it right away on the next load. But on the first load of a day, It definitely happens. The game crashes out to that halfway point. You got to go back in. And then where I got a couple other clips is usually the first time I go to do a cash in a daily, and this looks like the same as the previous clip, but that's because I was making weapons. But as soon as I got my last weapon made, I go over to the challenge screen to turn in the challenge. And generally, the first time I turn in a challenge, sometimes it'll happen a couple times later. After I hit OK, it says this is your reward or whatever. You got this much experience. Boom, sends you back to the login screen. So, and it doesn't seem to matter what kind of challenge it is. That, and this is a Switch thing totally. I've never had this happen on PlayStation or Xbox. Just on Switch. And not quite often. If it's not from that, the first time I go to open a crate, it does that. So I go to any crate that I have, I go to do the open action, it crashes me back to the screen. And then when I go back to my crates, that crate is counted as opened already. So, but it does give you what would have been there. So if you had, like I say, a clean crate, nothing had been taken, you go back, it'll show 3 things have been rewarded. Now I haven't gone into my inventory to actually count, so I like to see.
Yeah.
Maybe next time I'll do that. I'll see how much of these different things do I have. Then I'll go and count just to
Yeah.
see, is it actually giving me those things? I haven't done that.
So is
Um,
it like the first crate of each rarity that it happens,
no,
or just the first time in that session
yeah,
kind of thing?
generally the first crate, and it's kind of a thing. Sometimes, like if the reward one happens
Of the session.
of the session, yeah,
Okay.
of the play session. So sometimes, like if say that like the one that we're showing here, where it's the reward, if that happens, then the crate may not happen. But if I don't have one of those reward ones and I go to do a crate, then the crate happens and it sends me back to the login.
Okay.
So, how do you explain that? I have no clue.
Mhm.
But this is really, and I could get people who play on Switch being really frustrated. This is a common thing for everybody, having to like
Mhm.
go back to here, start loading again. But then after my third or fourth crash, it's usually pretty stable.
Yeah.
And then I can usually get quite a few games in. And sometimes I might get one or another crash later, but not to that extent. It's not as. And then I've also noticed on occasion, um, oh, I hit both. Okay, there we go. Sometimes if I get back to that loading screen, it won't let me load back in. So like on this little clip I'm showing here, I'll get I try to load in, I'll get an error saying login cloud service failed, servers might be unavailable. So I have to like just shut the program down totally, not the switch, just the program. So you exit to the main
Mhm.
menu, close down Vigor, and then reload it. So that is not every time, luckily, because that'll be really frustrating if every time it sent me back, it would then lose connection to the servers.
Mhm.
But it is something that happens on occasion. So yeah, Switch. There we go. It's yeah, it's very interesting.
It,
You don't always know about these things until you're doing it yourself, right?
yeah, it's honestly like it is pretty impressive that Vigor runs on the Switch just because of like you compare the hardware compared to like
Yeah,
even the PS4 or even like the One S instead of like the Series S and stuff like that. Like
the old
uh
1S. Yeah,
it's like pretty nutty that it runs and uh it's okay. It doesn't have like all the textures and everything like that, but
you're right. Yeah, you can definitely notice it because you're playing on the Switch. You get to a tree, and in Xbox, the trees are pretty nice, and the trunks are
mhm,
round. What do you expect? They're very squarish in the Switch. So it's like, oh, there's one side, there's the other side. Sometimes it's just not mapped as smoothly, but
yeah.
it's still fine. Like it's actually enjoyable to play on the Switch still. Um, you do notice the audio differences. Um, like you definitely get better audio on the Xbox. Um, Even with the PlayStation, like the PlayStation audio is not bad, but the Xbox audio, and of course, I'm comparing a PS4 Slim to a Series
Mhm.
X. So there was someone in my chat who was the other day who plays on PlayStation who was also saying that even on the PS5 he notices that the audio isn't quite as good. So
Yeah.
I can't speak for that for sure until I get one. And I hope to
Yeah.
have one soon. So I'll be
E-
yeah.
Even at that, like Honorable Bandits, like who's a Vigor partner, and he has both. I don't know if he has a PS5, but he says like when he plays on the PlayStation compared to like the Xbox, he's like the audio is so much better on the Xbox.
Yeah. Yeah, so
So
there's definitely audio differences between them. Um, because on my PS4, it just seems like the loud noises are more like the environmental sounds are more distracting. Like
okay,
maybe too loud or it's hard to say. Um, but there's definitely a quality difference. Yeah. Um, and on the Switch, there's definitely less audio because again, it doesn't have as much to it's been toned down, so it
mhm,
doesn't have as much to generate. So sometimes that could be a benefit because you can sometimes hear people coming from farther away, which is handy because you can't see as far.
mhm,
Like I think of Diverg Forest when you start at that northernmost location with the barn. You start up in the hills sometimes, and then
mhm.
on the Xbox or even the PlayStation 4, you can see across to the little military encampment,
Yep.
so you can see if someone's over there. On the Switch is like, well, I know there's stuff over there, but I can't tell if there's someone over there. So you got
Yeah.
to hope that they can't see you, and that you got to run and hide. One other little bug I wanted to bring up was for the PlayStation, but again, this is one that might be happening all over the place because it's an ammo dump, and I know the ammo dumps were an issue before, and I thought they had fixed a lot of it,
Yeah.
but yeah, on the I was playing shootout on Thursday just passed, and it was happening to me like crazy. I got a little clip here of this one. This is just me in this is in Kirsten. I grab an MGV. I have 160 rounds. You can sort of see at the bottom corner there. Do a load, and then I have zero. So nothing in
Mhm.
the clip, nothing in reserve. It's like whoa, like nothing. And then I noticed it a few more times. Like I would grab, and this was both grabbing weapons from a crate or from a person. I would get it up quite often. I would at least get a clip loaded, but then I wouldn't have anything left over. Like say I had 40 rounds and it was a 20-round clip, I would get the 20-round clip, but then I would have nothing left over after. So in shootout, I'm definitely seeing this ammo dump. I and because maybe it's a whole thing with the not finding as many weapons out in the outlands nowadays. I haven't noticed it out there because maybe I haven't been picking up weapons to do it. I know there's been a few times where I was streaming and Seb Presser was in watching, and he noticed that it happened. Not necessarily this season; it might have been before. But so I'm not always keeping my eye open for it. But this caught my
Mhm.
eye. When I had a weapon, I loaded it, and then all of a sudden I had nothing.
Yeah, because you got shot in the face right after. It's
Yeah,
like,
I got killed right
oh
away.
boy.
It's like nah. Yeah. I now have you noticed anything? Like I'm trying to think as I've been playing on all three systems. Have you been noticing any issues?
You know what? Even when it came to like the ammo dump when you loaded into encounters and stuff like that, I only
Yeah.
had that happen maybe like 2, 3, 4 times. It wasn't as prevalent as like other people. And then when it came to like, this example, I don't think I've ever noticed it. Um, I did have one actually earlier tonight. Just before the call, I was playing some shootout. I
Right.
picked up a weapon. So like I got a kill with an L85, and I went to go loot the body because he had the M4A1. I was like, give me that. Like I like both, but give me the M4A1. Uh, and then it literally swapped, but then my Outlander didn't have a gun in his hand,
Oh,
and
okay.
the bottom right, the
Yeah.
weapon icon, it still showed the L85. But then I loaded up I showed my loadout screen, and it showed that I had the M4A1 there where the
Right.
L85 was, which should have been the correct weapon.
Hmm.
And I think what I did was like I swapped weapons to get back, and then the M4A1 finally popped in, I think.
Okay.
So I did grab a clip, and I was going to submit it. Um,
Yeah. And that reminds me now, I know this is in prior seasons. There was an issue where sometimes you would go to use a consumable, but it wouldn't take the consumable out, and you but you don't notice. You hit the trigger, and it fires your weapon.
yeah.
I've had that happen since. Like this for sure 15.1. I don't know if I've had it on the Xbox, so I'm gonna have to really watch. I'm pretty sure it's happened either on the Switch or the PlayStation for sure. I'll have to find out for I'm gonna have to find clips and take clips of these. And that's the one where, yeah, it's not doesn't seem to be switching up either weapons or consumables properly, and you can't use stuff. But
Mhm.
you vault over something and everything's working again. And I also heard that you can go into water and come out and it fixes
Yeah.
it as well, but I hadn't tried that because it depends on where you are at the time.
So,
Um,
someone had mentioned emoting too. Apparently, will
oh,
fix some of these issues.
well, that's something to try. I'm gonna have to give that a try for
Yeah.
sure. Next time it happens, yeah. So that's an issue that I was definitely one from a previous season has come back, um, and I've noticed it. I just don't know if it's happening on the Xbox. I'm gonna have to
Hmm.
check that out and see if I can get clips of all the when it's happening on what system, and
Hmm.
yeah. So that one's reared its head again. Um, what else is there? I have noticed, and this is probably because it's a PlayStation 4 Slim again, lower powered system, but I used to play quite a bit on it um, until like we moved last September. I was playing on it fairly regularly, and then it sat for a few months until recently, where I could get it going again and start playing again. So I don't know if it was a certain season where things changed, um, but I'm really finding it laggy, very laggy, especially in shootouts. So it doesn't seem to matter what map I'm on. If I'm playing shootouts on the PlayStation,
Hmm.
it is hard to play. It's almost unplayable because like everything's like you're sort of jolting all over the place a little bit. You're trying to do a smooth turn, but it's not smooth, and you're not aiming in the right location, and and that's not even forget somebody dropping a mortar on you or something, right, or near you,
Hmm.
so that everything just goes crazy. So um I don't know if I've played much. I I have to play some on the Switch to see how it is on there. Just because I wonder if it's like the dumbed down graphics will make it more, more playable on the Switch.
Hmm.
So I'll have to test that out because I'm kind of curious. That was very noticeable, and I don't know if this is actually a thing, so don't quote me on this. It might not be, but Mod Vlog on his stream the other day, he was saying that he had noticed having his network stats up
Hmm.
actually made a difference on his performance. Like taking them off made
Yeah.
things run a bit smoother. That
Yeah.
could be an internet thing. Um, I don't know. Maybe it's his internet. You take whatever that is causing some issues for him. So I'm going to take it off of mine to see if I notice anything, especially with these slower systems.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because like I was going to say like if you are going to provide a clip, usually having those things up are a good
Are-
thing.
Yeah,
because it
exactly.
gives
They can see your latency and your
yeah,
ping times and stuff, right?
yeah, lost frames and everything like that. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it kind of helps, but I guess maybe it's causing issues.
Maybe it's causing some of the issues. That's a good question. Like I'll have to. I did turn it off on. I'm not sure which system it was now. I'm going to have to find out. I'll find out. Just so I can um, know when I'm submitting these clips. If I have them on them or not. Uh, be really handy to know. Like, it's going to be one of those things. Right? It's like there's so much to go into testing, right? Because
Yep.
if it's causing some of the issues, will I notice it as much once it's off? Right? Like all these little
Mhm.
weird issues I was having. Um, if I don't have those network stats up, am I having them as often? Right? It's like
Yep.
quality control. It's a pain, a pain to
Yep.
try to
And,
test for.
oh, and another thing they mentioned too on the dev stream this week about, like, bug reporting and whatnot.
Yeah,
Because Dizzy Online actually posed the question. It's like, what do you guys want? Like, what makes for a good bug report type thing?
yeah,
They mentioned a lot of the similar things that we've been talking about, but one thing that was new, and it does make sense, is if you have an idea of maybe what is causing the issue or what's triggering that situation, throw out the idea with the bug report. Like, let them know what you think is happening, because like, there's an instance, like, if you like, I've died to painkillers before, but I pop antibiotics. Okay.
yeah.
And I'm trying to get this clip because, like, especially it's more prevalent in shootout that it happens, but it's hard to replicate because people are shooting at you all the time, right?
Yep, yep.
So, but basically, like, if you take damage, you pop painkiller, you're full health, you get shot at again, then you have no white health, but then you pop an antibiotic. It doesn't actually start at, like, the zero mark of your HP. It's like at a negative value.
I've
So,
noticed that
like,
too.
I've like mentioned it to them, to the devs, and, like, I'm trying to help them out by giving them, like, a clip. But again, I'm trying to get a clip, and it's like I keep dying. It's like,
Well,
and
what
it's
I've
like
had.
I'm willing to die on purpose
Mhm.
to painkillers just to prove
Yeah.
this thing, and it's like I can't.
It's been a while, but there have been times where I was, like, in a fight, and it wasn't a shootout thing. I think it was just in encounters. You get into a fight with somebody, and they hit you a bunch. You pop a painkiller, but you're still in the middle of the fight. They hit you some more. The painkiller's still active, but you're not seeing any white.
Yeah,
Um, and then you, like, say you use a bandage, and because the bandage is supposed to give you half
yeah,
your health.
yeah,
But then it's, like, covering almost all my health because I was so negative apparently that it's, like,
yeah.
it's just giving me so much health.
Oh, and
Um,
that's another example. Is like, I've had a similar situation where it's like I use a bandage and I'm just at painkiller health at this point, and it
yep,
gives me maybe a quarter of my HP in white at that
right.
point because I'm so like
So negative,
negative, I
yeah,
guess.
similar kinda thing. I guess I gotten more out of it, but yeah, no, it's a similar kinda thing. You're in the negatives, but, like, the
Yeah,
half is giving you, yeah, I don't know, it's just so weird. Um, so yeah, those painkillers will keep you alive a while, but you need to have the medicine to get you back up to positive
yeah,
before they run out. Otherwise, you're gonna die. Yeah. So,
yeah.
woof, yeah. Yeah, and I don't know what you do for that. Like, do they make it so that once you hit 0, you don't take any more damage? I don't know. That's as long as you have painkillers, I don't know. It's weird. Because if you wanna be able to start counting up from 0 as soon as you pop a painkiller or try to use a bandage or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's yeah, something they may have to look at for sure. But yeah, it's happened to me, but not in shootouts. It's happened to me in encounters too. So it's
Mhm.
obviously a mechanic that is throughout the whole game.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
Uh,
like maybe there's a reasoning behind it, but we'll maybe they could provide us an example of why. type thing for reasoning.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, but I think that's that. I don't know, unless you have anything more you want to bring up. I think that's pretty much it for our little grab bag here, talking about the changes, talking about some of the issues that I've been noticing with the different systems.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay, okay, I have something. It's almost like a confession. I don't know. It happened on stream. I was having
I never
a
thought it
little
would
story
happen to
time.
me.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, that is exactly. So story time with DJ.
Yep.
I never thought it would happen to me. Anyways, I'm playing some of limbs because it's double XP and I have a single seasonal challenge tied to limbs, which you mentioned before, break locks with tickets. Boom. Okay, 10. Easy peasy. So I get into a limb match and it's 5v5. I'm not doing the greatest, but like I got like 3, 4 kills. The previous one I had like, led the team in kills. Like I was doing great. I had like 2,400 points or something like that. This game, I'm not doing well. The other teams are doing better. I think
Yep.
I think it was like pretty even. But anyways, I'm chatting with chat, and all of a sudden I get notification that I'm up for AF removal for being AFK, and I'm
Oh,
like,
they try to boot
oh my
you.
god, what is this? I'm like, so I'm caught a little off guard, and
Yeah.
so it's like waiting for it, and so the next round starts up, and then boom, I get like the prompt, the AFK prompt, and it's like literally 4-button push, right? Like yeah, I forget what it is, AXAB or something like that. I screwed it up twice, and I got booted.
Oh.
I'm like, are you kidding me? This just happened on stream. I'm like, I didn't even look at my controller. I'm just like not mashing buttons, but I'm like, I think it's like I'm looking at the controller right now, but I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
hitting XA and then YB instead of like XY AB. And I was like, oh my god, I'm an idiot. Like I can't even do this. I'm like, I clipped it because I was like, what is this? I'm like, I can't believe this. I'm like,
Oh,
Vigor
man.
partner, I can't even hit 4 buttons in a row.
Oh, wow. I think I've
Anyways,
yeah, and
that's
it's
story
happened to me
time with
once.
DJ.
Yeah, like, I not that I got kicked, but that they tried to kick me,
Yeah,
once. But it doesn't happen hasn't happened a lot, but then I don't play a lot of limbs, so
yeah.
yeah, and I get a lot of those limb challenges where it's like, kill 3, outlanders in a row in a limb in a round in the limbs, like, what? Get 3,700 points in the limbs, like, come on.
Yeah. That 30, I think it's like 3,500 points in the limbs. Yeah, that
Yeah,
I don't, I've never been close to it, even without with the multiplier type thing. Like
yeah.
I don't know
It
how
might
that works.
Yeah, it's like that, and then I think the shootout one is like 20, maybe the shootout one is the one that ends in 7, I think it's like 2,700 or something.
I've
But
had that one,
again,
but for 25,
okay, maybe it's
2,500.
yeah, I might be just who knows, I'm
Yeah,
totally wrong, whatever, but it's a lot of numbers that I don't
yeah,
normally get, so
yeah.
I have to,
It's got to be the Elim one because the Elim one's nuts. Like
yeah, yeah,
I think
and
anytime I see that one, it's like reroll.
yeah, and there's the one try to hit 2 people with a grenade in the limbs. You would
Yeah,
think that
that
one might be easier, but I
yeah.
haven't had it haven't been able to do it.
The so it's all like situational, but like the Anakin map where it's like the warehouse,
Mm,
uh, right?
or it's sort
And
of
everyone starts
yeah,
around the mountainside.
yeah.
Chuck your grenade up there, and that's how I
Yeah,
got it.
that'd be
I
a good
actually
one.
hit.
Yeah.
That's how I got it last season. This season I didn't get that challenge, but last season that's how I did it. And I actually like I got like 3 kills and damaged like some other dude. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll have
that
to give
that
that a
would be my
try.
tip for that.
Yeah, and because the loadouts are also a bit random, you're not always guaranteed
Yes.
to get one with a grenade. So it's like
Yeah.
I might get the right map, but I may not get a grenade. So we'll have to see.
Yeah.
But I'll
Yeah.
try it.
Exactly.
I'll give that a shot. The one that I
Yeah.
thought was going to be hard that I got once was last season that I got um, easier than I thought. It was in a limbs deal 150 damage
Mm,
and take no damage.
yeah.
And I thought that one was going to be like you had to survive the whole round, but as soon as I got the 150 damage, it counted,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
hadn't taken any, so I was like, "Oh, perfect." So that one
Yep.
wasn't as bad.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, that's that. This has been our grab bag discussion of a little bit of everything.
15.1 update and
Yep.
bugs.
And bugs. Well, yeah, that's kind of it. So that's what it was. That's what the grab bag was this time. Maybe we'll get some more where we get some random topics that we just sort of jumble together, to make an
Yep.
episode out of. But thank you for listening. We appreciate you. Please like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Leave us a comment. And I'm Dr. Anton.
And I'm DJ Spencer.
Stay safe in the Outlands and have a great night. Bye.
Bye.
I've heard you say you lost your way again. You don't see your reflection. Just look around and find at least something good. All you need will come to you. I'll never refuse you. Take whatever you want, so just get a hold. I know you'll find your way. No need to go the same. Grab your chance and flame up your dream. I know you'll find your way. You must be going anyway. Grab your chance and flame up your dream. Flame up your dream. It's time to leave the place where you are forced to fade away. You barely breathe, heart is breaking in the chest. I'll make you feel that it's not real. Your thoughts because of which you barely live. I'll never refuse you. Take whatever you want, so just get a hold. I know you'll find your way. No need to go the same. Grab your chance and flame up your dream. I know you'll find your way. You must be going anyway. Grab your chance and flame up your dream. Flame up I know you'll find your way. No need to go the same. Grab your chance and flame up your dream. I know you'll find your way. You must be going anyway. Grab your chance and flame up your dream. Flame up your